70-742 Lab 5, Maintaining Active Directory. So we're going to be working with restoring deleted objects using a recycle bin in Active Directory Administrative Center. We're going to be replicating Active Directory sites and services, looking at creating a read-only domain controller, and backing up and restoring Active Directory. We'll be working with our lun-dc1 and lun-svr1 today. So let's get into exercise 5.1. And in this exercise, we're going to activate the Active Directory recycle bin. We'll then delete an object and restore the object from the recycle bin. So similar to Windows recycle bin, deleted objects are stored in a deleted folder. For a period of time, after an Active Directory object has been deleted, an administrator can undelete an object, restoring it to its original state when it was deleted. So we're going to start out on our DC, our domain controller, and I'm going to go to Active Directory Administrative Center. I'm going to click on the datum on the left-hand side, and we're going to look on the right-hand pane over here. You'll see Enable Recycle Bin. Select it. We get a message indicating that once it's been enabled, it can't be disabled. And do we really want to continue? Well, we do. We want to say OK. Please refresh the Administrative Center now. It's begun enabling the recycle bin for the forest. It won't function reliably until all domain controllers in the forest have replicated the change. Okay, so here's our first question. What other method can be used to activate the Active Directory recycle bin? You should get this from your reading. There's another way that we can tell our Active Directory to enable the recycle bin. What is one of the other principal ways that we can manage Active Directory not using the GUI, not using the graphical user interface? If you don't know the answer already, make sure you look it up in your text. That's question number 1. Let's go ahead and we're going to press F5 to refresh our view. And in Server Manager, I'm going to go back up to Tools and Active Directory Users and Computers. We're going to select the datum.com and then select the Sales OU. And here's Abby Parsons. I'm going to right-click on Ms. Parsons' account and I'm going to say delete. Do we really want to delete it? Say yes to continue. It's gone. Oh. Close Active Directory User Computers. Go back to your Active Directory Administrative Center. In the Active Directory Administrative, click the small arrow next to a datum local. And then double-click on deleted objects. Look there. There is Ms. Parsons' account. If it doesn't show up, if you don't have anything there yet, press F5 to refresh your view. You should be able to see it then. Let's go ahead and right-click on the account and say Restore. And the account is back. It has been restored. Rather than being a permanent deletion, it went to the recycle bin first. So let's go back and we're going to select on the left-hand column Sales. We can see that Abby Parsons' user account has been restored. Let's go ahead, take a screenshot of your entire browser and paste it into step number 14. If you've got that done, you can close the Active Directory Center. Your first exercise is complete. Our second exercise is replicating with Active Directory sites and services. In this exercise, we'll be replicating Active Directory between two domain controllers using the Active Directory Sites and Services console. Understand that replication occurs between domain controllers within a site. That's called intra-site replication. Or between domain controllers in separate sites. That's inter-site replication. Think of it this way. The internet goes all around the world between locations. An intranet that we host on our network is within one network. Relate things to how we can apply them to different areas. Intra-site replication within a site, inter-site replication between separate sites. So let's go over to SVR1. And we're going to go ahead and get logged on. There we are. And on server 1, once server manager comes up and is fully loaded, we're going to go to add roles and features. So we'll just wait a moment. Should be there. There we are. And if I remember correctly, on one of our other exercises, we did this. Yeah, we did. Remember? If you have not already, you need to go to Manage, Add Roles and Features, Next, 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 select Active Directory Domain Services, Add Features, Next, 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 Install. If you have already done that, as some of us have, at that point you can get the immediate promote this server to a domain controller. Otherwise, wait till your installation is done and then click promote this server to a domain controller. So let's go ahead. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a domain controller to an existing domain. We're going to add this as a second domain controller in our datum.com. So it's already selected. We're going to click Next. Oh, it says you must supply a user account name. Okay. The credentials. These are not the credentials we want to use. Let me just take a quick look and see how I'm logged on. I'm logged on as the local administrator. Let's go ahead. I'm going to cancel this. And I'm going to log off and make sure I log on as the domain administrator. Very important. So I need to do other user. Remember, if we just type in administrator, it defaults to the local account. So we need to do a datum /add administrator. And now we can put our password in. Should only take a moment for our user interface to come up. Here it comes. Okay, server manager's up and loaded. Now we can promote this. We're going to add a domain controller to an existing domain, so now it sees our administrator credentials. We're going to go ahead and click Next. For our password for our directory services restore mode, we're going to use our same default password. Obviously, if this was a production server, we would most likely not want to do that. And press Next, or click Next, or press Enter. We're going to click Next. Oh, let's back up a second. Click Previous. Question number 2. What is the site name set to? The only site that exists in our domain right now, default -first -site -name. Question number 2. Click Next. Click Next. Click Next. On the paths, click Next. We can review our options. We're going to click Next, and it's going to check our prerequisites, and then we will select Install. Okay, all prerequisite checks passed successfully. Let's go ahead. Now, instead of making new Active Directory partitions, it's going to replicate from our existing lun-dc1 Active Directory. So we can see that it's setting up DNS, and it's going to, instead of us having to first create that DNS that's integrated with Active Directory, it's going to replicate it here again. It's going to be, our DNS will be the same on both domain controllers. It's going to install a group policy management console. So we can manage group policy from either one of these domain controllers. Remember, we could also install the administration tool on another system and manage our systems, our services from another system as well. And there you can see replicating. It is creating new domain users, it's creating that structure, but it replicated the objects. And there we are. We're just about done. It's still continuing, but we're soon done. And there we are. And of course, it's going to have to reboot to become a domain controller. So we're just going to allow that to happen. Should reboot here in just a few seconds. And there it goes. And we'll just wait while it applies the new settings for our system. And just like that, we're there. Let's go ahead and get logged on. And we can see we're going to log on to a datum. And we're in. Should take only a moment to set up our user interface and bring up Server Manager. And once Server Manager does fully load, we're not going to go to Active Directory users and computers. We're going to go to a different tool. We're going to go to Active Directory sites and services. Should just take a few more moments here until Server Manager completes loading. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to go to Tools. Right there, Active Directory sites and services. Takes a few moments for the tool to load. And there is our Active Directory sites and services. So we're going to select sites and we're going to expand it. And then we're going to expand our default first site name and expand servers. Expand the lun-dc1 and then select NTDS settings. We can see a replication connection between our DC1 and our SVR1. This is how the Active Directory gets replicated. Let's go ahead and select Action and refresh, just to make sure. Now, here's our next browser screenshot. Go ahead and take a screenshot of your browser and paste it into step number 24. Here's our next question. Which replication connection is already made for the lun-dc1, and how is that connection generated? Well, the connection is from where? lun-svr1. And how is that connection generated? It is automatically generated. It was automatically created for us. So go ahead and answer question 3. Let's go ahead and right-click our replication connection and select Replicate Now. We get a little dialog. Ooh, why did we get a error? Synchronized naming context. Okay, naming context is probably not replicated from specify. Okay, go ahead and click OK. That's what our instructions tell us to do. What they want us to do is next, we're going to right click that connection and we're going to select delete. We're going to be prompted, do we want to delete the connection? Say yes. Right click on NTDS settings, select new Active Directory domain services connection, and let's double click on LUN SVR1. It says, hey, there's a new object. Where are we going to create it? Click OK. And now we can see a new connection. Instead of being automatically generated, we manually created it. So let's go ahead and take a screenshot and paste that into step number 31. If you've got your connection, go ahead and close Active Directory Sites and Services. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look, we can replicate our connections using Sites and Services by right-clicking and say Replicate Now. We can also do it from the command prompt. So let's go ahead and we're going to right-click, and we can do Run CMD, but you can also just select Command Prompt here. So go ahead and select Command Prompt, and we're going to run a repadmin command. And it's repadmin space /sync all space /APED. That's Apple Papa Echo Delta. Press enter. We get a message saying replication is in progress. Q to quit, any other key to continue. So I'm going to just press the space bar one time. Replication completed successfully. Q to quit, any other key to continue. I'm going to press spacebar one more time. Sync all finished. Sync all terminated with no errors. So our question number 4 is, were there any errors? If there were any errors, what were they? Well, in my case, my answer would be there are no errors. However, I could see that replication was in progress and that it completed successfully. Okay, I'm moving on. So we can do other commands here. We can do the same repadmin, but we can run what's called a REPL summary. That's REPLSUMMARY, and press enter. And it shows you a replication summary of the connections. We can also see what might be in a queue. So I just press the up arrow once, and if I type in /q, now it's going to show us a little different view. It takes a moment. Well, there's nothing in the queue. If there were items that were waiting to replicate, this would display current inbound connections. Let's go ahead, take a browser screenshot, and paste that into step number 37. We can go ahead and close your command prompt once you've got that screenshot pasted in, and our exercise is done. Now, let's move on to exercise 5.3, creating a read-only domain controller. In this exercise, we're going to deploy a read-only domain controller. That's an RODC. An RODC contains a full replication of the domain database. However, it is placed where the physical security of the domain controller is not guaranteed. With an RODC available, Active Directory queries can be quicker than having to go over other sites that might be connected by a very slow WAN link. We might use this in a very small remote branch that needs to have database connectivity, Active Directory database connectivity, but only has a very slow connection to its home network. So what we're going to do is on our server 1, and that's what we should still be on. Let's just make sure of that. We are. We're going to go Manage, Remove Roles and Features. And under the Remove Roles, we're going to click Next, Next, and we're going to deselect Active Directory Domain Services. We're going to go ahead and confirm we want to remove features. Takes a moment, it's running. We're going to wait, and we're going to say demote this domain controller. That's what we have to select. Now, it takes a few more moments. It's running, okay. Just wait for it to finish up. We're going to use the domain credentials. We are there, and we're going to click Next. Once we are on our warning screen, take a look. The domain controller currently hosts the following roles: Domain Name System Server and Global Catalog. We have to put a check mark in Proceed with Removal before we can do anything else. We won't have the Next button until we've done that. But before you click Next, answer question number 5. Which roles does the server have? We just stated those roles, didn't we? Type those roles into question 5. Once you've done that, click Next. We need to give a new password because remember, this is no longer going to be a domain controller anymore. So we're going to put our default password in and click Next. It says, hey, do we really want to demote? Yes, we're going to demote it. Once we're done with this process, it's going to need to reboot. And then we're still going to log in with our domain credentials. And we're going to re-promote, but we're going to be doing it a little bit different. So we're just going to wait for this process to complete. Okay, and we're going to reboot. Should only take a few more moments. And there it goes. And we're coming back up. Should be able to log on here in just a moment. There we are. We are going to log on as the datum administrator. Now, after it comes up, we're going to go into Server Manager and we're going to re-promote this back to being a domain controller. So we just need to wait for Server Manager to finish loading. Typically, it only takes a few moments. Okay, see, we still have the yellow triangle up here. Go ahead and select that and select Promote this server to a domain controller. Here's our configuration wizard. And what we want to do is, again, we're going to add a domain controller to an existing domain. All right. We're going to add a domain controller to an existing domain. It's going to be a datum.com. Click Next. This time, however, once it finishes loading this screen, we're going to select Read Only Domain Controller, RODC. We're going to put a check mark there, and we're going to put our password in. We're We're going to click Next. Okay, now, question number 6. Which accounts can replicate passwords to the RODC? It's right there in the middle of your screen. Accounts that are in the adatum/allowed RODC password replication group. That's what is allowed to replicate passwords. Which accounts are denied from replicating passwords? This is question number 7. Well, it's right there on your screen. There are a number of them. And I see a little scroll bar here. Is it only 3 accounts? Is it only 3 groups? Nope, there's more groups there. Make sure you put in all your answers. You must fully answer the question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different groups. Make sure that those are all added to question number 7. On this screen, the next thing we need to do is under the Delegated Administrator account. We're going to click Select, and we need to type in Account Operators. And we can check that name. It's good. Click OK. And now we can click Next. Under Additional Options, we're simply going to click Next. On the Paths, Next. On the Review Options, we can see that is this time it's going to be a read-only domain controller. Click Next. And once it checks our prereqs, we click Install. Should only take a few moments. An error occurred configuring Wizard cannot access the list of domains in the forest. Error is access denied. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to go over to my LUN-DC1 and I'm going to restart it. So let's see why an error occurred while trying to configure this machine as a domain controller. You know what? We've made a bunch of changes. This environment, it works a little funky sometimes, right? So let's do this. I'm going to do more than just restart the domain controller. I'm going to select Power Down. I'm going to shut down. And I'm going to go over to my LUN-DC1 and I'm going to do the same thing there. I'm going to shut it down and then I'm going to restart the DC1, and once it shuts down and is fully restarted, only after it's fully restarted am I going to restart my server 1. So let's go ahead and do this. Not sure why we got that error. We should not have. But this is why we do these labs. If everything goes right the first time, did we really learn much? You learn more through error than you do through success, believe it or not. Got a background task going on, I'm going to tell it to shut down anyway. So while this shuts down, I'm just going to pause the video. Okay, so my DC1 is restarting and we should be back up here in a few moments. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get logged into the domain controller just to see that everything's back up, and then I'm going to fire up our SVR1. Okay, so we're completely up. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the LUN server 1 and power it on. Hopefully this only takes a few moments to come back up. And we're hopeful that that corrects our error. I'm not quite sure why that would have occurred. We're logged into both with domain property or permissions. Shouldn't occur. But that's why we do this, so we understand problems in the future. It's a lot easier to correct errors now in a test environment than in a live production environment. Or when you run into or when you run into those problems in the live production environment, maybe you've got a greater insight into how to go about correcting those errors. That's the goal. Let's take a look at what services haven't started yet. Sync hosts don't really care about any of those. They'll all start in their own good time. So let's go back over to our promote this to a domain controller. We're going to add it to an existing forest. We know that. We're going to wait for that to finish. Should only take a few more moments. And you know what? I'm going to go here and I'm going to say select, and there is our domain. So hopefully we can see our domain. Now remember, on this next page we need to select read-only domain controller once it finishes loading. And we put our password in. Whoops. And press enter, click next. We already answered questions 6 and 7. We're going to delegate administrator account, and that is account operators. And check the name. It's correct. Click OK. We click next. We're going to click next. We're going to click next. We're going to click next. And we're going to click install. And hopefully this time it works the way it's supposed to. It looks like it is. Yes, it is. It's going through the installation. Replicated the schema. Replicating, replicating, replicating. Setting DNS computer name. Root. That's DNS name. Root. Securing. And there we are. We're just about done. What are we going to have to do once this is completed? We're going to have to restart. There, and here comes the restart. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause the video while it restarts. Okay, so let's get logged back into SVR1. Once our server manager comes up, we're going to be going to Tools and then Active Directory Users and Computers. We're going to just wait for Server Manager to finish loading, or finish loading most of the way anyhow. Keep in mind, we can click on Tools right now. It just may take a few more extra moments to load. And there's Users and Computers. And of course, our computer's still starting up. Our server's still starting up. Going to take a few extra seconds for ADUC to load. When it comes up, if it's not already expanded, we're going to expand our domain, and we're going to select the domain controller's OU. There is our ADUC. We're going to expand and select domain controllers. There we go. Both domain controllers have a copy of the global catalog. SVR1 is flagged as read-only. Take a browser screenshot and paste it into step number 24. Let's go ahead, if you've got your screenshot, let's go ahead and right-click on SVR1 and select Properties. And you'll notice there's a Password Replication Policy tab. Select that. Which group is allowed password replication? You'll notice these are settings, right? Deny, deny, allow, deny, deny, deny. So which one is allowed? The allowed RDOC password replication group. There's your answer to question number 8. Let's go ahead and double click on that. And it opens up our group policy, our group properties. Select the Members tab and let's click Add. Now we're going to go up here, and I'm not going to fool you into typing something in wrong, because we're going to put in a computer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to Object Types. We're going to select Computers. We're going to click OK. And step 131, they want us to type in Abby. Not sure why they wanted us to select computers, because Abby is it's a user account. Go ahead and enter that. We can, if you've got Abby Parsons listed as a member, you can click OK. And go ahead and click OK. Now I want to point something out. What we just did in Active Directory Users and Computers, in your workbook, it actually said to do this on DC1. What's the difference between viewing Active Directory Users and Computers on DC1 and on SVR1? Well, the Active Directory should be the same. Now, if I click on this again, go back to Replication Policy, double click on it, click on Members. Is Abby Parsons still a member? Yes. Functionality was the same. Let's see. So let's go ahead and close Active Directory Users and Computers. And on SVR1, we're going to go Manage. We're going to remove roles and features. We're going to click Next, Next, and we're going to once again deselect Active Directory Domain Services. We're going to remove features. When it finishes loading, it's going to take a moment. We are again going to select Demote this domain controller and then click OK. Demote. Okay. Now, we are on the credentials page. We're going to go ahead and click Next. We're going to select Proceed with Removal. We're going to click Next. On the removal options, we'll click Next. We're going to go ahead and put our default password back in. And click Next. And select Demote. The demote process is going to take a few moments. Okay, and what has to happen next? Yes, of course, a reboot. So while that occurs, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so that exercise is complete. So now we're going to wait for SVR1 to finish rebooting. And we're going to perform the lab challenge, which is backing up and restoring Active Directory. Now this portion is going to take a little while, but it's critical that you do accomplish it. It's part of our worksheet. As a system administrator, it's important to have good backups. In this lab challenge, you will use Windows Server Backup to back up the system state of Lund-DC1, which will include the Active Directory. You will then restore the sales OU. Understand that the system state is a collection of system components that make up major components of Windows that cannot easily be backed up. It includes boot files, the registry, sysvol, the Active Directory database, certificate store, and IIS metabase. When restoring Active Directory, there are non-authoritative restores and authoritative restores. When a non-authoritative restore is performed, Active Directory overwrites the old data that is restored from backup. To restore old data as data you want to keep, you need to perform an authoritative restore. So this is important. If you are restoring your Active Directory and the data that you're restoring is out of date, it's critical that you do a non-authoritative restore. Why do you think that's important? It's important to talk about this. If we've got two domain controllers and one of them has been online the whole time, the other one crashed and was offline for 2 days. If you do an authoritative restore, the old data will be restored as the data you want to keep. So what about any objects that changed in those 2 days? What about any new accounts that were created, or accounts that were deleted or disabled, or passwords that changed? If you restore 2-day-old Active Directory data to a domain controller, you're restoring stale data that's no longer in sync with your Active Directory controller that was online the entire time. It's important in a situation like that to do a non-authoritative restore, because what it does is the Active Directory overwrites the old data that is restored from backup. Okay, so let's get on with it. We're going to log in to server 1. If I use the correct password. Okay. So while that's logging on, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch back over to my DC1 and get logged into that, because this problem should be locked. Okay. All right. So we're going to go to Manage, Add Roles and Features. We're going to select Next, Next, Next. On the Roles page, select Next, and scroll down to the bottom of the features until you see Windows Server Backup. Select Windows Server Backup. It'll take a moment. Okay, there it is. Go ahead and click Next and click Install. I'm going to wait for that feature to install. Once the feature has finished installing and it's complete, go ahead and take a browser screenshot showing the installation being completed. It goes into step number 8 in our challenge. Okay, and my installation has succeeded. So go ahead and get that screenshot and get it pasted in. Go ahead and click Close. Let's jump back over to our SVR1. We're already logged on as our datum administrator. I'm going to go into File Explorer. I'm going to select this PC, select the C drive, and I'm going to create a new folder, and that new folder name is going to be back. We're going to press enter. I'm going to right click on the back folder and select properties. we're going to select sharing and then advanced sharing. On the advanced sharing page, we're going to select share this folder. We're going to select permissions. And for everyone, click to select the allow change. We're going to do this simply. This may not be the way you would normally do it, but this is the way the instructions from Microsoft Official Academic Course tell us to do it. Okay, so we've added allow change, and we're going to go ahead and click OK, and click close. Go ahead and jump back over to your DC1, go to Tools, scroll down to the very bottom of your list to Windows Server Backup. It's going to take a moment. It's coming up. Once it's loaded up, go ahead and select Local Backup. And under the actions, once it loads up, it's reading data. Got to wait a few moments. We're going to select Backup Once. Our wizard's going to start. And with different options already selected, click Next. Now we want to select Custom. We're not going to do a full backup. We're going to do Next. We're going to select Add Items. Under the Add Items, we're going to select System State. We're going to click OK. Under the Select Items, back on the Select Items for Backup page, we're going to click Next. And we're going to say a remote shared folder and click Next. Now we need to navigate to that remote folder. So it's //lun-svr1 / and there it is. I can just move, I don't even have to type it in, I can just move my cursor down one time. Just use the down arrow and press enter. And I can see by pressing enter that it's already selected and it shows what's going to be backed up. On our confirmation screen, we're going to click Backup. It's going to take a few minutes for this to run. So go ahead and grab a sandwich or grab a cold tropical drink and let's wait for this to complete. And we can see it's collecting the files that it's going to replicate, that it's going to back up, and the number's climbing. It has to index everything first. Can't just start to back up. We need to know what we're going to back up, right? So a lot of files. I mean, look at this. This is our little tiny little test environment. One domain controller, and it's already going to back up over 42,000 files. We're up to 4 gigs. It's probably going to climb up to 7 or 8 gig until it's complete. And then it will begin transferring the data. So as I said, go ahead, let this run, and we can walk away from it for a little while. But it's critical that we do complete this. Now, one thing that I did not consider is the size of our storage in our lab. So I'm hopeful that this is going to complete. If we run out of available storage to us, we will not be able to complete the lab challenge. So we're going to find this out. Got to remember, this is a new experience for all of us, right? So let's be hopeful that we've got sufficient storage in our ACE IT environment for us to do this. I'm going to put us back on pause. Okay, well, my backup is starting to run. Let's see if we're going to be able to complete. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause it because this is going to take a little bit of time, and we'll find out whether or not we've got the resources available to do this. Well, we're getting close. We're up to 97%. Let's see if it finishes. Okay, and we successfully completed. Excellent. Take your screenshot once you have successfully completed and paste that into step number 23. If you've got your screenshot, click close. Okay, so we're working on the lab challenge and we've completed our backup to the lun-svr1/bak directory. At this point, I'm going to tell everyone to stop because I continued on with the lab challenge and was doing my restoration. And during that time, I had to participate in 2 different video conferences, which caused me to have to go away from my screen for a little while. When I came back, my Lun-DC1 was sitting at a blue screen, just a blank blue screen. It stayed that way for about half an hour. Finally, I told it to turn off, turn it back on. In the process, the virtualization platform must have powered down my domain controller and it caused the process to be corrupted, because at this point now I can't log into a datum and I can't log into my SVR1. The only recourse I'm going to have to rebuild this and get my system set back up, but don't go any further than doing the backup. Do not attempt to restore the Active Directory database. All right, that completes Lab 5. Okay, well, good news. I was able to restore my domain controller without having to blow up the world. I was eventually able to get it to come back up and everything's working just fine. But it took me about another 45 minutes, an hour. I don't want you as a student on your own while we're doing the distancing and we're not in the classroom. I don't want you to experience what I did. So therefore, I want to stick with what I said. Do the backup of your system state, and once that completes, your lab challenge is done. But understand that we could complete it. But the fact that we're working in this virtual remote environment and that it can soft reset and it can hibernate and it can do some strange things, I don't want you to face that on your own the very first time in front of your computer and not know whether it's recoverable. We want to experience when things go wrong, but we want to do it in a controlled environment. So with that, Lab 5 is complete.